Welcome back to Fujitsu Forum TV. You join us for the final time on Media Day ahead of the doors opening at 9 a.m. Central European time tomorrow morning. Now, we've been calling all day that our mission on Fujitsu Forum TV is to look at the very challenges facing business and society right now, because technology, as we know, it has the opportunity to not just address challenges, but unlock value from them too. One such area is cloud. If I tell you that attendees of Fujitsu Forum get to see the 4 keynotes, 60 interactive breakout sessions, of course they get the expert talks, the networking that goes on, they get to see the digital transformation zone, but on Fujitsu Forum TV we have you covered. You will see all 4 keynotes live and exclusive, the first of which is tomorrow morning. You will also see, by the time we come off air on Thursday, 40 live interviews, the majority of which are from the very people running the interactive sessions here. And our next segment are 2 of the people that are involved in that breakout session tomorrow. We're talking cloud and multi-cloud. Been talking a bit about this today already, haven't we? Many businesses have so many different cloud properties right now. They haven't necessarily had the right strategy from the outset. They probably haven't even thought about the security being baked in from the start. We said we were going to get you some expert opinion on what needed to happen and what businesses needed to be aware of. Well, I'm delighted to say, joined by 2 of Fujitsu's finest, Darren, Gaile, Cloud Security Offerings Manager, and Tristan Rogers, Enterprise Service Transformation Portfolio Manager. Wow, that's a big business card. Thank you both for coming along and having a chat with us. Tristan, let's come to you first, because I know it's a bit of a phenomenon, cloud, and it's all exploded. Cloud only or cloud first philosophies, I believe there's a stat floating around at the moment that 86% of organizations will be going cloud first or have a cloud only mantra, right?
Yeah, so from my experience over the last 12 months, I've not met one company or one customer that isn't on their cloud journey. They're either starting to adopt cloud, or actually some customers are really starting to mature in that environment over the next 2 or 3 years. I think what we need to do is kind of look at cloud technology now and look where we've come from over the last 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years ago, when people were adopting cloud, they were adopting it for its consumption benefits, because they could see they had to get out of their data centers and those sorts of things. But actually what we're starting to see is customers and organizations actually realizing the transformative effects of cloud and what it can bring to their organization. And actually, the customers that really succeed with their strategies are the ones that think about an organizational change rather than a technology change. And it's all about being able to change and pivot your organization, utilizing multi-cloud as kind of the technology gateway and enabler to do that.
Sort of finger in the air. I mean, you said that every customer you've spoke to, they've all been looking at cloud. How many of them do you think, straw poll, had the right strategy from the outset?
I think it's almost impossible to have the right strategy from the outset, if
right.
I'm perfectly honest. I think it's an evolution that needs to take place within your organisation. And there's different levels of maturity in the cloud as well. So we've seen customers go on the lift and shift approach, and that's where you're taking wholesale your estate and moving that into the cloud. But then once you get into the cloud, there's lots of opportunities to further modernise and make use of those components that you spoke about. We talk about things like cloud native, and actually that needs a whole new approach and revolution in the way that your organisation and your policies and processes are structured in order to really exploit that technology.
Darren, I know we talk a lot about the benefits customers can get from cloud, yep. Agility, efficiency, all those great words that boardrooms love seeing and availing of, but there are some pitfalls as well. There's things to be mindful of if you get your implementation wrong, correct?
Well, yes. As organizations move to the cloud and they start on that digital transformation journey, the benefits of cloud that you mentioned around agility and flexibility, they're key requirements, and cloud is going to underpin that. And having the right strategy in place and knowing what you want to do and where you're going and why you're going is critical. So some of the organizations that I've spoken to in the past, a key pillar in their cloud strategy would have been cost reduction. Now, cost reduction was the go-to thing for legacy and traditional IT. It was about, the IT was almost the cost of doing business. And it was normally a function that was, reduce the budget and make them do more with less. what organizations are finding now when they go to the cloud and they become more digital, the way a lot of them are competing, it's around the user experience, and the user experience in a lot of cases is driven by things like the website, the mobile applications, and those are developed by the IT function. So they're actually starting to realize now that IT is a revenue center. It's where you need to invest if you want to compete. And a few organizations that I've spoken to, would have used cost reduction as one of the main reasons of going the cloud. And as they've started on that journey, they've began to realize that actually saving money and the cost reduction, and that might have been the main reason that it was signed off by the business. This whole idea of cost reduction now isn't standing up, and a lot of them aren't really sure what they need to do. They're part way or halfway through a transition, and a lot of them just plow on.
Let's talk security context for a moment. So I guess it's quite easy to understand how businesses that have got 10 or 20 cloud properties could have security flaws per se. But to avoid being fearful in the future, what do businesses need to be mindful of to get their propositions right?
So there's two key areas for me, and you'll hear a lot of people talking about both of them, both this week and in the months and years ahead. The first one is what we call secure by design, or secure from day zero. Now, this isn't something that we've invented, but it's a holistic approach to security where we are trying to address the root causes of cloud security issues, rather than just trying to address symptoms and deploying point solutions and responding to security incidents. So it's about having security built in from day one and positioning it. So it's not just a case of security as a checkbox or a gate or something that you need to tick off a list in order to ship a product or push something to production. It's a process, and it's a process that is there at the beginning, and it's there throughout the life cycle of the product. The other thing, obviously, that is a requirement here too is that take a risk-led approach. So you can go and have you can get consultancy and advice from internal and external stakeholders about what the types of security controls that you should have in the cloud. But if you apply risk management to that and you consider your own organization's approach to risk, the threats that are specific to your organization and the impact that those risks and those threats are going to have in your organization, you can actually then create a prioritized list of risks and associated security controls that are specific to you and that are real value to you. And I think both of those things combined are really fundamental.
Tristan, security is obviously one element, but what else do organisations need to consider when it comes to the management and orchestration of their multi-cloud environments?
So I think it goes back to what we spoke about initially. Take that holistic view, making sure that your cloud strategy is aligned to where your business wants to go, and an understanding of your business vision and how that aligns to the technological change that you're undertaking. And from my experience when I talk to customers, technology is a very small part of this. What we're actually looking at is an organisational change. Okay, so we need to look above technology. So we've got your infrastructure, you've got your applications, but what happens to services, what happens to tooling and integration above and beyond that? And it's the organisations that can look holistically across that and say, okay, so we're adopting all this technology, but what's the purpose of that? So what does that mean to our people? What are the characteristics of the people that that will be utilising this technology? How do we need to organise and line up behind this technology in order to best exploit and leverage what capabilities are available? Processes is a massive area. Our ITSM processes have been born up for the last 20 to 30 years, and actually, when you move to multi-cloud, you need to have a different viewpoint on these processes, and your risk profile actually starts to change, which means that you can realign these processes to make you operate at a faster rate, and whilst reducing risk through automation. The final point I'd like to talk about is just the integration piece. We see that in multi-cloud, that's where the complexity starts to come into things. So there are massive advantages of utilising cloud and all these platforms, but how are you going to integrate that? How are you going to make that all work in a seamless fashion so your people can be productive and continuously develop and work in a proactive fashion rather than reactively fixing problems?
We know cloud is supposed to have saved businesses a lot of time and money. In your opinion, are there many companies out there that are losing both because they're having to go back and redo their strategies because they've somehow bumbled into the place they are at the moment? Is that common?
Definitely. So I think what we're starting to see now is the organisations that have learned and they're taking a different approach, and that's that transformative approach that I spoke about. If you're going to cloud just for cost savings, inevitably it'll end up in failure.
I'm going to ask you both for one message. Be a lot of people watching this thinking, there's a lot of sense being spoken here. We've clearly got to have a conversation internally about our cloud strategy. If you had one message for the boardrooms and IT teams that are watching this today, what would it be?
I think, so it's kind of related to what Tristan just said. I think revisiting your strategy is vital because the cloud's evolving and there are benefits in cloud that you can't even imagine at the minute. So, it's hard to write a strategy. IT's always been an industry where every 3 to 5 years something new is happening. In cloud, it's 3 to 6 months. So writing a strategy with even a visibility of 12 months is really, really difficult. So one of the things I think there's an issue with is how there's a bit of a disconnect with how organizations procure IT services, especially in the cloud. You want to get, if you're going to do it yourself and you have the internal skills and the ability to do that, that's fine. But if you're going to bring in a CSP or an integrator like Fujitsu, bring them in as early as you can, okay? Don't wait until your strategy has been set, it's been approved, and then come and say to a company like Fujitsu, right, here you go, implement this for us or take us to the cloud. From Fujitsu's point of view, we don't want to just be the company that does that. Likewise, we just don't want to be the company that you say, right, can you manage our cloud environment for us? We want to be your digital transformation partner. Bring us in as early as possible. Let us help you write your strategy. Let us help you write your business case. And then together, we can keep those current. So as the cloud evolves and as you get a better understanding of what you're going to be able to do in cloud and what the return on investment is going to be and the investment that you're going to need to make, we can work on that together. And it's very easy. We want to put some skin in the game and be in there from day one and have some sort of ownability really around your journey to cloud.
What would your message be, Tristan?
Yeah, just a very quick one from me. Multi-cloud is the enabler. Yeah, but stop looking at this as a technological change program. It's an organisational change program, which just happens to be facilitated by the use of cloud technology. So, when you're looking at this, if you're going to work with a partner, make sure you work with someone who looks at it across the different layers of your organisation to make sure they all move in tandem with each other.
Brilliant stuff indeed. Gents, thank you very much for stopping by. Darren, I know you've literally just got off a plane to do this, so thank you for rushing to get to us. If you're watching this from Fujitsu Forum in Munich, and that's whetted your appetite, there is a breakout session tomorrow at 3 o'clock where I believe the title is How to Avoid a Multi-Cloud Monster.
Yes.
We're swinging by and seeing that. Hopefully, that's whetted your appetite for what we got coming up over the next 2 days. Tomorrow, we are back on air from 9 o'clock Central European time. So needless to say, if you're tuning in from the UK, it's an hour earlier. The doors open at 9 a.m. where we're receiving guests from more than 80 countries around the world. And that just underlines the importance and emphasis that business and society place on the innovation and thinking from the wonderful people at Fujitsu, their partners and their customers. We have a full day of insight coming your way where we continue to explore the very challenges that business and society are facing and how technology is not just answering those, but unlocking core value. We've also got 2 keynotes coming up tomorrow, the first of which, President Takita, he's joined by Paul Pattinson and Rupert Lehner, who spoke to us earlier. They're talking about driving a trusted future. You can see that all live and exclusive on Fujitsu Forum TV. Plenty of reason to get your breakfast, grab a coffee, sit tight and tune in for a day full of insight. Hopefully we'll see you in the morning.